Hi, I'm Todd White, Vice President of Operations. Welcome to HTI Onboarding. HTI has been in business since 1999, and we partner with some of the best employers and largest employers in the United States. We're thrilled to be a part of your next step towards a great career. Thank you for choosing HTI.
At HTI, safety comes first, and we value your safety on the job above all else. As an HTI employee, safe work practices must be a priority every day. The actions you take within your job responsibilities on a daily basis play a key role in helping you and your coworkers remain productive and safe from injury. This orientation has been prepared to review general safety rules and practices for accident prevention and to provide more information on what to do in case of an accident or injury. As you work through this training program, keep in mind that only employees who take the responsibility to work safely and observe HTI and client safe work practices will be assigned work. General safety rules. As an HTI temporary employee, you may be given work assignments under the supervision of various clients at any number of locations. Following the safety rules and job site safety practices associated with these assignments will ensure your safety and the safety of your coworkers. It is very important that when you are working at an on-site client location, you only perform the job duties that have been approved by your HTI representative. Any variance from these duties must be approved prior to you doing them. Many unnecessary injuries occur to temporary workers when they have been asked by on-site client to perform job duties outside the scope of their approved assignments. Examples include operating a forklift, running machinery without proper training, or filling in for another worker while they are doing another activity. Contact your HTI representative immediately if you were asked to perform duties other than those specified in your assignment. 90% of accidents are caused by one of the following factors: safety rule violations that are a result of either deliberate acts that violate safety rules or acts resulting from not knowing the safety rules. Some of the most common injuries that occur in the temporary staffing industry include exertion injuries, strains, amputations, fractures, cuts, and abrasions. These injuries are often results of being struck by falling objects, using improper lifting procedures, using improperly guarded machinery, and material handling accidents from metal items, boxes, barrels, and other containers. As a temporary employee, it is your responsibility to recognize unsafe conditions in the workplace and take preventative measures to avoid injury. Following workplace safety and health rules, using proper material handling and lifting practices, wearing proper personal protective equipment, recognizing slip, trip, and fall exposures, using hand and power tools correctly, and knowing emergency procedures are a few steps you can take to prevent injuries on the job. Preventing accidents takes a team. For the team to be successful, it is important for you to notify your on-site client supervisor and ask for instructions if you are unsure of any job task that you were asked to perform. Also be sure to notify your on-site client supervisor if you have questions or notice an unsafe condition or if you observe another employee engaged in an unsafe act. Before beginning work at any client site, it is important to know the rules for working safely. Never take risks. Prior to arriving at the client site, it is important for you to know the general safety rules that will be enforced on every job assignment. Horseplay is not permitted on the job site. Do not take any unnecessary chances or work under hazardous conditions, such as operating machinery that has a missing guard or removing guards from machinery. Use of cell phones, including texting, is prohibited while operating vehicles while on the job. Smoking is not permitted anywhere on the job site except in designated areas. Drinking alcoholic beverages prior to or during work is prohibited, as well as the use of illegal drugs or prescription medication that may interfere with your job tasks. Always work at a speed that is consistent with safety. Keep yourself rested and in good physical condition to do your job. Use the handrails on stairs and other elevated places. Always inspect tools and equipment before using and report any defects or damage. Work clear of suspended loads. Obey warning signs and tags. Do not enter confined spaces, chambers, tanks, or other similar places that receive little ventilation unless it has been determined that it is safe for you to enter by your supervisor or HTI representative. In addition, operate only the machinery or equipment that you have been authorized and trained to run safely. Remove jewelry such as rings, identification bracelets, necklaces, and so forth, and restrain long hair and loose clothing before performing any work that involves climbing, material handling, or operating mechanical equipment. Never reach over moving parts of machinery or equipment. Report to work in appropriate clothing suitable for the type of work you will be performing, and wear personal protective equipment as required. Common sense health and sanitation rules must be observed for the welfare and consideration of other employees. Always turn off all types of mechanical equipment that is not in use. Try not to work alone. However, if you must, tell someone where you are and how long you will be there. Before starting at a new job, be sure it is in a safe condition and keep in mind that all safety regulations will be strictly enforced. Now that you are aware of the general safety rules that will be enforced, let's take a look at some specific safety practices that will apply to keeping you safe while working on job assignments. Slip, trip, and fall. One of the most common types of accidents at client sites is slip, trip, and fall accidents. Many slips, trips, and falls are caused by unsafe actions or work practices that can easily be corrected. To prevent a slip, trip, or fall accident, one of the most important actions you can take is to watch where you're going and slow down. Move with a steady pace and do not race down halls or around corners. Other preventative measures you can take include paying attention to walking surfaces and noting changes such as varying heights, floor textures, and the presence of curves and so forth. Watching surfaces for the presence of water or ice, making wide turns at corners, wearing slip-resistant shoes when appropriate, and keeping your hands free for balance and out of your pockets. Make sure that you can see over the load you are carrying and keep work areas clean and free of clutter. In addition, when sitting in a chair, keep all chair legs on the floor at all times. All client site safety rules require footwear and to keep the bottoms of your shoes clean and in good condition. Clean up spills immediately and report any safety concerns to your supervisor. Weather conditions can also contribute to slip, trip, and fall injuries. Throughout the year, be cautious of water, ice, or snow that may be present in your work areas. Report these conditions to your on-site supervisor immediately so they can be removed. Another type of fall exposure that can be avoided is the incorrect usage of ladders. To use the ladder safely, remember to use precautions. Do not work on roofs or other surfaces more than 8 feet in height unless you have received prior approval from HTI. Inspect the ladder before using by checking the rungs and handrails for tightness and cleanliness. Immediately report damage to ladders and other support structures to your on-site supervisor for repairs. Metal ladders should never be used in the vicinity of electrical circuits. Do not paint ladders and be sure rungs are clean, not muddy or slippery, before climbing the ladder. Place the ladder on a firm, flat surface and be sure that the safety feet are secured. Place a straight ladder at a 75-degree angle or a 4-to-1 ratio. When climbing a ladder, always face it and never stand on the top 2 rungs of the ladder or allow your belt buckle to go past the side rails. Power tools. Injuries to fingers and hands from using incorrect hand and power tools are a common occurrence. Another safety concern while using power tools is the risk of particles flying into the eyes due to using defective tools or not wearing eye protection. To use hand and power tools safely, consider the following safety practices. Always use the right tool for the job and do not substitute the required tool for the job. For example, do not use a screwdriver as a chisel. Always wear the correct PPE for the job, such as safety glasses or goggles, especially when using hammers, chisels, punches, and wedges. Check the handle and head of every tool for tightness and proper working condition before each use. Clean and return tools to their proper place so that they do not fall from a ledge or a location where they can cause a slip, trip, and fall injury. And report anything that may be wrong with the tool to your on-site supervisor so that it can be repaired or replaced. Lifting. Exertion injuries from lifting, pushing, pulling, twisting, bending, and turning while handling materials result in approximately 30% of injuries in the workplace. Proper lifting techniques are critical to reducing your exposure to these types of injuries. Some of the factors that can cause serious back injuries when lifting improperly include twisting and turning too much during lift, move, or transfer, lifting more than 40 to 45 pounds unassisted, reaching or stretching out of your work zone, and using an improper grip on the load you are moving. When lifting objects, body posture and position play a key role. The safe lifting zone is an area within the body located between mid-thigh and chest. Lifts should be made within the safe lifting zone whenever possible. In addition to lifting objects within the safe lifting zone, remember to always lift material using the strength of your legs and not your back. When lifting an object, always practice the following safe lifting techniques. Move in close to the load, bend at your knees, not your waist, keep your back straight, and avoid unnecessary twisting. Hold the load close to your body and lift the material using the strength of your legs, not your back. If the material weighs more than 40 to 45 pounds, do not lift it. Rather, use mechanical aids such as the dolly or a team lift with someone who is of equal strength. Good housekeeping. Good housekeeping is a term that describes the practice of keeping the workplace neat and orderly. Storing materials properly and maintaining adequate space to move through or work in are easy actions to take to prevent accidents. In addition, good housekeeping also allows for more efficient job performance on your part. Materials, tools, and equipment stored in an orderly manner are easy to find, less likely to become damaged, and quicker to utilize. To maintain good housekeeping in your work area, take the following actions. Maintain work areas and storage facilities and make sure they are clean, neat, and orderly. Keep all stairways, passageways, exits, and access ways to building free from obstructions at all times. Clean up all spills immediately. Return tools and equipment to their proper place when not in use. Lay out extension cords, air hoses, water hoses, ladders, tools, and so forth in a way that minimizes tripping hazards or obstructions to traffic. Vehicles. Do not use any vehicle for work purposes without written permission from your HTI representative. Specific driver training will be provided if you are assigned to a client with fleet operations. We will provide you with training on basic driving principles, and specific training will be covered by the on-site client. When using company vehicles, remember that cell phone usage and texting are prohibited. Electrical. The majority of electrical accidents can be prevented. Only qualified personnel should perform repair work to electrical equipment. Remember the following precautions when working with electricity. Inspect equipment and cords for damage prior to use. Don't overload electrical outlets. Do not utilize or work with electrical equipment in damp or wet conditions or when water or puddles are present. And report any concerns you may have to your on-site supervisor. Lockout Tagout. Lockout Tagout is a safety procedure for de-energizing, disconnecting, and shutting down a power source to equipment so that it can be maintained or repaired without hazard to the employees authorized to work on this type of equipment. When a power source is de-energized or shut down, a lock and tag are fixed to the equipment to ensure that it is not re-energized or started up until the repair work for maintenance is completed. So, if you see equipment that is locked and tagged out, do not touch the lock tag equipment or controls. Only qualified personnel should perform repair work to lock out, tag out equipment or reported deficiencies. PPE. For many people, the use of personal protective equipment, or PPE, is a required part of every workday. PPE is designed to protect you from serious workplace injuries or illnesses. If it is not utilized properly, it will not be effective in keeping you safe. All employees must use required PPE. Ask your on-site client supervisor for specific instructions. Prior to beginning work each day, be sure you know what PPE is necessary to safely do your job. Let's take a look at some of the common types of PPE that you might be required to wear on work assignments. Safety glasses, face shields, and welding helmets are types of commonly used eye protection. Make sure your eye protection fits correctly. When you are done using your eye protection, be sure that you know how to maintain and store it. Foot injury can be avoided with proper use of foot protection. Work boots with ankle support and leather shoes offer adequate protection from many of the hazards encountered in the workplace. Many work environments require the use of shoes equipped with a steel toe. This helps to protect toes from becoming lacerated or crushed by material or equipment in the workplace. The use of hearing protection is necessary for employees exposed to noise levels of 85 decibels or more during an average 8-hour workday. Types of hearing protection include disposable earplugs, reusable earplugs, headband earplugs, and earmuffs. When the possibility of injury from falling or flying objects exists, regulations developed by the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA, require the use of head protection. The most common type of head protection is the hard hat. A traditional track hard hat is made up of an outer shell and a suspension system that is designed to protect the head from heavy blows or other trauma. Hand protection is another common type of PPE utilized at client sites. Gloves are designed to protect the hands from numerous hazards, including lacerations, burns, punctures, and other types of injuries. Gloves can be made of leather, mesh, cotton, or rubber and should be chosen depending on the job. Always take good care of your PPE after each use. If you are unsure of what PPE to use or how to wear it, notify your supervisor. In addition, report damaged or defective PPE to your supervisor immediately. Remember that all PPE must be approved by your supervisor and/or your HTI representative. Biohazards. Human blood and other bodily fluids are considered a hazard because of the risk of bloodborne pathogens, which are microscopic organisms present in blood and other bodily fluids that have the potential to cause disease. Hepatitis B, C, and the human immunodeficiency virus, HIV, are all types of bloodborne pathogens. They can enter the body of another person through open wounds, eyes, nose, and mouth, or from a puncture obtained where a sharp instrument carrying a bloodborne pathogen penetrates the skin. If you encounter any of these substances that could cause exposure to bloodborne pathogens, take the following steps immediately to protect yourself. Use PPE such as gloves and wear goggles when anticipating contact with blood or bodily fluids. Treat all bodily fluids and soiled items as contaminated. Carefully handle the disposal of sharp instruments such as contaminated equipment or first aid items like needles, scissors, and bandages during and after use. Practice good housekeeping by cleaning work surfaces with bleach and other disinfecting agents frequently and after any bloodborne pathogen exposure. Wash hands and skin surfaces immediately after any contact with blood or bodily fluids. If you have routine exposure to bloodborne pathogens or have encountered a bloodborne pathogen, be sure to get a hepatitis B vaccination. HAZCOM. The Hazard Communication Standard, or HAZCOM, was created with the intent to protect you from accidental contact with chemicals. The standard provides you with the right to know about the chemicals you may encounter on the job and explains how to protect yourself from the hazards associated with these chemicals. Here are some good practices to follow when working with chemicals and hazardous materials. Use chemicals properly and only for what they are intended, and do not mix incompatible chemicals. Use appropriate PPE. Know the location of the nearest eye wash and rinse shower station prior to working with chemicals. Understand how to use safety data sheets, or SDS. These sheets explain the hazards and precautions of the chemicals you work with and are available at each client work site. In addition, properly label containers with the identity of their contents and applicable hazard warning. Practice good hygiene while using chemicals. Wash your hands often, before breaks, meals, and at the end of the day. Separate work from break and lunch areas, and remember that smoking is prohibited at client sites, especially when working with chemicals or solvents. Use only designated areas for smoking. Emergency procedures. Emergency due to fire, severe weather, and national events may occur at any time. It is important to be prepared and know what to do should an emergency situation occur. Be aware of all evacuation routes, exit assemblies, and shelter areas at your workplace. Take part in evacuation protocol and training sessions related to emergency situations. Do not use elevators to evacuate and remain in the designated area until authorities give the all-clear signal. Emergency exits, fires, and flammable materials. It is important to know emergency exit routes and locations of fire alarms and fire extinguishers. If you discover a fire, pull the fire alarm, call 911, and evacuate the building. Be sure that you know the location of all fire extinguishers and that they are clearly marked and accessible for use. When using a fire extinguisher, use the pass method. Pull the pin, aim at the base of the fire, squeeze the handle, and sweep across the base of the fire. In addition, smoking and open flames are not permitted where flammable solvent liquids, gases, fluids, and other flammable materials are stored, transported, or used. Do not use gasoline for cleaning purposes. Permits must be obtained for hot work such as welding, burning, and cutting operations. No burning, welding, or other source of ignition should be applied to any closed tank or vessel unless it has first been determined that no possibility of explosion exists and authorization for the work is obtained from the on-site supervisor. Clean hands thoroughly after handling hazardous flammable substances and follow special instructions for those products. Accident procedure. HTI and its clients are committed to providing and maintaining a safe work environment for all employees. However, even at the safest work sites, sometimes accidents occur. While on job assignments, it is very important to be aware of accident exposures and procedures. In the event you are involved in an on-the-job accident, you are required to follow all rules and regulations. Report any accident, injury, or near miss that resulted from your job-related duties to your on-site client supervisor immediately and seek first aid. This includes minor injury and near misses, such as a cut finger that requires a Band-Aid. Also, if you strain a muscle while working but do not feel you need medical attention, be sure to immediately report the injury to your supervisor anyway. After reporting this to your on-site supervisor, contact your local HTI office immediately or no later than at the end of your work shift. Proper notification concerning any on-the-job injury is important to protect your right under workers' compensation legislation. This will help to ensure that you receive proper medical treatment and will expedite your return to work and protect others from suffering the same injury. All clients for which you may be working are aware of these procedures and will help you to follow this process. Please be aware that if you're involved in an accident or injury that requires a doctor's appointment or hospitalization, an HTI representative may accompany you to the physician's office or hospital. At that time, as with every accident and injury, the representative will get a report and conduct an investigation of the accident. For your protection and care, it is important that you cooperate with this process. Following an accident, you may be required to submit to a drug screen depending on the circumstances, which is outlined in the drug screen policy. If you are given a drug screen, it is in compliance with our substance abuse policy and you have signed an authorization form for this as part of your agreement of employment. In the event of an accident or injury, we will make certain that you receive the best medical treatment available and will help you return to work as quickly as possible. We have an effective return to work modified duty program that will accommodate most restrictions or limitations to get you back to work. Making a false or fraudulent workers' comp claim is a crime and can result in fines and/or imprisonment and loss of eligibility to receive workers' compensation benefits. First aid procedures. Should you need medical aid while working on a job assignment, contact your on-site client supervisor immediately. Prior to beginning each on-site client assignment, discuss with your supervisor the procedure necessary for reporting first aid injuries or emergencies. Also be sure that you know the location of the emergency first aid materials, including eye wash stations. If you ever have any workplace safety concerns, please report them anonymously to our HTI Safety Hotline. You can call 864-263-4417 or email safetyconcerns@htijobs.com. Policies and procedures. We will now be briefly reviewing our HTI temporary associate policies. We strongly recommend that when you reach the electronic orientation, you review these policies in detail. Call-in procedure. If you are going to be late or absent, you must call the number listed on your client-specific orientation, either the office number or a specific call-in number, and your supervisor's number at least 1 hour prior to the start of your shift. Contacting a fellow associate to report an absence, late arrival, or emergency is unacceptable under all circumstances. Failure to call and leave a number where you can be reached may result in reprimand or termination. Tardiness or absence during your first 2 weeks may result in immediate dismissal. Payroll options. HTI payroll is processed on a weekly basis, and we offer 2 options for receiving payroll payment. 1, electronic direct deposit, or 2, for those unable to establish a banking relationship, HTI will facilitate the issue of a pay card. Benefits and time off. As an HTI temporary associate, you will be offered insurance coverage and will be eligible for holiday, vacation, bereavement, and jury duty pay once the 10-year requirements specified in each policy document or your client-specific policies are met. Substance abuse policy. HTI is committed to a drug-free workplace. All potential HTI employees attending HTI orientation must complete a pre-employment drug screen today. By agreeing to our substance abuse policy, you acknowledge that HTI holds the right to give drug screenings under the following circumstances. 1, random drug screening. 2, reasonable suspicion. And 3, safety violations where there is reasonable suspicion. Refusal to take a drug screen may result in immediate termination. Anti-harassment policy. HTI promotes a productive work environment and does not tolerate verbal or physical conduct by any employee that harasses, disrupts, or interferes with another worker's performance, or that creates an intimidating, offensive, or hostile work environment. Insurance benefits. Now let's review your HTI insurance benefits. HTI is committed to offering medical plans that meet the needs of our eligible employees at an affordable cost. An employee is considered eligible for insurance the first day of the month following 59 days of employment with HTI. Some specific rules apply regarding breaks in service with HTI. So if break in service applies to you, please ask your recruiter if you have any questions about your eligibility. Your insurance packet will be emailed to your email address on file about 30 to 45 days after you begin working with HTI. You will then have several weeks to make a decision and take action. If you do not have an email address in our system, a packet will be mailed to the physical address on file. Please be sure that both your email and mailing addresses are correct in our system so that you receive this important insurance information in a timely manner. We will use the same email address where your payroll notifications are sent. If you do not receive your payroll notifications, please talk to your recruiter to verify that your email address is up to date. Remember, it is your responsibility to keep your contact information updated. Now for your medical coverage options. As an HTI employee, you will be automatically enrolled in our lowest cost medical plan for employee-only coverage unless you elect otherwise prior to your eligibility date. Once you receive your packet, you can determine if you wish to elect different coverage or decline coverage altogether. We offer options for medical plans where you can elect additional coverage for yourself and elect coverage for your children, spouse, or family. Prices and details will be included with your enrollment packet for all available plans. Once you have passed your eligibility date, no changes in elections can be made unless there is a life change event. Life change events include marriage, divorce, birth, death, obtaining new coverage, etc. Life change events can only be processed within 30 days of the event. Remember, if you do not take any action, you will be auto-enrolled in the lowest cost medical plan for employee-only coverage. You must elect to change plans or to decline coverage altogether. Dental and vision coverage are available as separate options. Other voluntary coverage plans are also available. All will be detailed in the packet sent to you. Premiums and weekly deduction amounts can be found in your enrollment packet. Deductions are specific to assignments. All medical deductions will begin 4 weeks prior to the date your insurance coverage will start. Be sure to look at your pay stub regularly to verify your weekly deductions are correct. For information regarding the Affordable Care Act, you can visit www.healthcare.gov. Additional information regarding requirements and exchanges can be found in your orientation packet. Thank you for your time today. If you have further questions, please refer to your plan summary, email benefits@htijobs.com, or speak with your recruiter or account manager. HTI is an equal opportunity employer. HTI does not discriminate against any person because of race, color, religion, sex, national origin, age, disabilities, pregnancy, retaliation, or any conditions as set forth by Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 as amended. It is the employee's responsibility to immediately advise their HTI representative of any situation that they believe affects them as it relates to discrimination. The company will then investigate the charge and act as necessary to correct any situation found in violation of the law. Any concerns you have over behavior that may threaten your security or that of your company, coworkers, or customers can be reported anonymously to our HTI Cares line. Call 866-259-5960 or email compliance@htijobs.com.